I wanted to do a short video to celebrate our blog's 13th anniversary. It was yesterday. So the Inspiring Human Potential blog is the first place I started to share on how to inspire human potential through the inner growth mindset. The first part of the inner growth mindset book involves existentialism, sociology, and psychology. So the basics of everything human related and what leads people to actually deal with what I saw as conflict, but it's not a conflict that is a bad, it's an opportunity to grow into more of who you want to be. Without even knowing it, I created a mindset and or an exercise really for people to become their own agents, their own secure attachment type person. Because when you look at society and you look at the psychological aspects of your ego, and then you look at the equation of what's my meaning, what's my purpose, existence, you will find that those are the three areas that people usually don't sit down and just accept who they are, how they are, with that lovely unconditional love and the imperfections and flaws that we are. Some of us, somehow, it actually easily happens. So here we're celebrating how I love inspiring for you to be yourself from your own heart with your own mind, but this is not intended to mean to be mean to each other. Actually, to be yourself can only be when you are your restored embodied self, when you are an integrated mind. And what I mean by that is that you're able to consistently navigate your thoughts and emotions. So your self has a journey. Now, people like to talk about change. Those of us who are connected to consciousness in a certain way and have been, it doesn't feel ever like change. We feel always expanding, like we're expanding ourselves. Others, they instead do it in the opposite direction. So I like to share the 5D person. Those who are either inclined or already here, we have love cycles, not shame cycles. We understand what shame means, but we don't feel it. I've seen people explain to me it, but I don't feel, I've never felt shame this way of I'm unworthy. I don't know that word. In fact, worthiness to me means nothing when it comes to human life, meaning we're all worthy, every life. So it seems very odd that any person and anyone and anything would use the word with something that is equal to a gift. Not because of belief systems, because the reality is, besides this life, once we all are gone, we don't know when we are gone. And so it's a gift. And although I did begin life with belief systems, I grew up and understand exactly how the essence of consciousness and just energy is. I mean, it really doesn't surprise me when I'm learning from Sabine about physics or about how the universe works, that, stars, it's going to go out one day. And I'm the one who actually had a very interesting conversation with one of my loved ones who was telling me how the sun would come to an end, and I was like, no, but we don't know. And this conversation went into a bit of a debate. I was just trying to make the point, we won't be here, and for all we know, technology will create a way that we will be able to have light, which is actually what I'm uncovering from how the universe works on those lovely episodes. So without further ado, though, I want to celebrate the IHP blog, podcast, all the content, the Inspiring Human Potential, beginners, intermediate, and advanced course, everything that you find. And for the intermediate and advanced, they're not online just yet. The beginners is. But you can find the main modules all for free on the inspiringhumanpotential.com website. That's dealing with the unknown, unwanted, uncertainty from within, and just, your inner world, and then going with the flow. So those are, I think, the gist of the titles. I haven't visited the website in a long time. No, I have, but I don't read the titles all the time. Okay, here's what I had to share with you all on today's community posts. But for those of you who prefer video, and since we have the availability of podcast shorts, thank you, YouTube. If we're going to talk about humanity, it's ideal to learn about how we work from the inside, from the start of our development. Developmental attachment researchers and people who actually care about humanity and being a human can teach us a lot about ourselves and each other. They can teach us in an in-depth way if we are open and receptive to learning the truth about being human. Did you know? And these are notes that I'm about to read to you, so they're not all coherent, but still, just listen, and then I might try to explain whatever it is that didn't come through well. Empathic resonance, genetically programmed experience expectant circuitry in our human brain that has been produced by genes that says, I expect to have an attachment figure. So the empathic resonance, and here's where the first video I ever watched about neuroplasticity and us being able to rewire our neurons based on us choosing. I was 16 or 17, and I immediately implemented it to try and work on my tone with my family members. So you're supposed to notice what reactivity you have. You choose how you're going to replace it. I just chose, I try to pause or count. I to this day still work on it. But I'm saying I actively mindset everything. You choose how to navigate this. So if you're reacting and you're disregarding it, you're choosing to leave it alone. And so you're not working the bright sides of neuroplasticity. You're actually going to wire. So we have different circuitries. The empathic resonance, I forget why he uses this word, but the seed of empathy, I remember through the same video that was teaching me about the human brain and whatnot, and this was in the 90s, late 90s, mid 90s, said that infants that were being neglected and ignored, their seed of empathy would turn off. That's the way they used the terms. And I remember, because I already didn't believe in evil at that time, because there's something for every 5D person's heart. And I say 5D because that's the oneness consciousness you hear the ascension community talking about. And again, I don't see them loving all of each other. I see them continuing to divide each other, but let's transform that, shall we? Bringing together the human sciences and the human elements, and all of it can be considered pseudoscience, but still we're grabbing from our experts, not creating stories, using it to say, here, let me empower you with information, grabbing the spiritual metaphysics esotericism, let's empower with information, not create storytelling. Same thing goes with spirituality and what is now yogic science, because technology shows how the yoga exercises actually tone your ventral vagus nerve, so your social engagement system. So let's learn about being human. That infinite higher human consciousness potential experience is accessible to all if you move towards your restored embodied self willingly. Otherwise, you're going to sit in the potential dysregulated modulated, which is where, distractions are chosen. When people start to yell at each other, they are choosing to disengage from moving out of their biological rudeness, the red or yellow. So they're self-preservation mode, because it's too much to not be equanimous. I don't know. Really, it's because they say, oh, well, I have a right to express my emotion. Yes, but your emotion is not what we're talking about. The ability for you to work with your own circuitry, with your own brain, with your own body, begins and ends with you. Not practice. People love going to the gym. Well, guess what? If you want inner well-being, there's a practice which involves, and now that we have the knowledge of what this involves, here's why it's simplified. It's accessible. However, I will add, as the lovely therapists who teach me, because I take a bunch of different classes, and this one's from NICABM, one of them I'll never forget how she says that all of them, they will negotiate with their patients, because the ones who have trauma memory actually need to walk out of hell. And every step of the way, it's like stepping on this ladder of a burning ladder. This was the description. And this always makes me feel very powerless. But by sharing love and getting those who want to actually help humanity to hear about the compassionate, and then, working together. It's not about not saying, hey, dude, what's up? What do you say? It's about actually being able to understand how we're made. So this circuitry gets turned off if our external environment doesn't meet our needs. This is the part that was made clear. Our system expects to have contingent communication. When that doesn't take place, so if I'm cold and 20 times I'm getting cold and my caregiver won't warm me, my body learns how to make up for it. So it will shut down the aspects of empathy, and I will grow up to potentially be, here's where those attachment categories, the non-secure ones, the avoidant, ambivalent, and then we have disorganized. We'll keep talking about these things, but in the meantime, we bring together all of these lovely human, spiritual, and spirituality elements on the podcast episodes. So tune in for more, and if you want, you can become a paid subscriber and find out about the Lightworker's life journey, and I'm expanding consciousness, and also our lovely love language. But in the meantime, let's celebrate, or I wish to celebrate, the IHP content with you. Have a wonderful day.